I hereby call this meeting of the Richmond School Board to order. And Ms. Wilson, before you take the roll call, Ms. Dorr will not be joining us this evening.
Thank you.
And I believe Jason is just coming in right now.
Okay, you ready, Ms. Owen?
Yes.
Simultaneous translation is being provided tonight in Spanish via Zoom. The link to access the Zoom meeting can be found in the meeting notice. Once logged in, click Interpretation and select Spanish to listen to the interpretation. All meeting participants are encouraged to speak slowly and deliberately to allow for accurate translation. This meeting is being held as an electronic meeting pursuant to and in compliance with the City of Richmond Ordinance 2020-093 and the School Board's resolution approved on April 20th, 2020. The notice of the meeting stated that the meeting would be a virtual meeting and would be live streamed on the school division's Facebook page. The public could view it there and the link was provided. It also stated that the board would not receive public comment in person. However, public comments could be submitted to the clerk at speakers@rvaschools.net, and the comments would be shared with the board and posted to board docs. The agenda for the meeting was also posted to the RPS board docs site, and the link was provided. After roll call, it will be determined how many and which board members are participating. Roll call, Ms. Page.
Here.
Ms. Cosby. Mr. Young.
Here.
Dr. Sapini. Mr. Barlow.
Here.
Ms. Gibson.
Here.
Ms. Burke.
Here.
And Ms. Owen.
Here.
And you do have a quorum, Madam Chair.
Here.
I'm sorry, Mr. Young. I didn't
That was
call you.
Dr. Sapini joined us.
Thank you. Okay.
All right. Then we will move on to the adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion to do that?
So moved.
Mr. Barlow, is there a second?
Second.
All right, Ms. Wilson?
Yes, ma'am. It's the adoption of the agenda.
Yes.
Okay. I don't have any changes. Are there any? You need a motion?
We had a
or no
motion.
other?
Mr. Barlow moved and Ms. Page seconded.
Thank you. I didn't hear any of that.
One moment, one moment.
Okay.
Ms. Gibson has a comment.
I just wanted to note, I don't think there is an abundance of public comment this evening, and the agenda noted that each comment will be read for 1 minute. And my request is that we listen, that we go to our standard 3 minutes for comments this evening, given the number that we have.
Well, we have been doing no more than 2 since we went virtual, Ms. Gibson. So how about if we do 2?
Well, I think our board norms are 3 minutes, so that would be my preference.
And our policy is half an hour, so there you go. Can I see thumbs up for 3 minutes from people? Okay, then we will go with 3 minutes, Ms. Wilson. But first we have our
Okay.
roll call for the adoption of the agenda.
Yes. Ms. Page.
Yes.
Ms. Cosby.
Yes.
Mr. Young.
Aye.
Dr. Sapini. Dr. Sapini.
He's muted. Dr. Sapini, you're on mute.
I'll come back. Mr. Barlow.
Yes.
Ms. Gibson.
Yes.
Ms. Burke.
Yes.
Ms. Owen,
Yes?
Dr. Sapini,
Okay. So
I didn't hear.
he's still muted. So let's move on.
Okay, motion passes. So public information.
And do read it slowly for the interpreters, please, Ms. Wilson.
Yes. And I can't see the chat, so if you're trying to get my attention, can you just call my name, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Tom Hartman. Public information during COVID has dramatically shown the lure and deep impossibilities of direct democracy. Public information has been poignant and ridiculous, totally inspiring in the abstract and terribly boring in the concrete, a beautiful expression of commitment to community and a transparent and surely untenable waste of valuable time. How often were the same excellent points made to an audience struggling to stay awake? My count was 306, each excellent same point being made on average 306 times. What's to be done? It's the sort of thing that never gets dealt with. People have a right to be heard, but on the other hand, efficiency simply cannot be put as a dispensable priority. I ask that the issue be made an agenda 10-minute maximum topic. The same situation will persist throughout COVID and should not simply be pseudo tolerated. I have no great ideas, but I know the board collectively will. Shantae Johnson, to whom it may concern, Spartan Academy has helped me become a better me since I arrived there 2 years ago. I can focus on what I need to focus on without being distracted by the wrong things. I can put my foot down towards making the right and best decisions for myself. I also learned how to communicate, talking to people in a respectful way. The staff has pushed me every day to become a better person, more respectful, and more responsible. They also helped me deal with my anger and helping me control it more, which I have got better at doing because of their help. It wasn't easy, but when you have multiple people there to support you, it is very much possible. Everyone has worked as a team to help me get through my bad times and troubled ways, and I very much appreciate every single bit of help I have received from the Spartan Academy staff. Mazaya Hayward, I have been a student at Spartan Academy off and on for the past 3 years. When I started coming here, all I wanted to do was fight, be disrespectful, and walk the halls. Deep down inside, I wanted to change. I was just so used to doing wrong, and I didn't know how to change my behavior. Since coming to Spartan Academy, I have learned how to control my emotions and communicate better. They taught me how to care about my present self. I am not saying I'm perfect now, but I know that I am better. I even do better in my schoolwork because I learned how to ask for help if I don't understand. The staff at my school don't let you bully or tease other kids, and you are wasting your time if you think you're going to fight because Mr. Martin is going to stop it before it even happens. I love my school and the staff, especially Mr. Strickland, Mr. Trotter, Mrs. Jewett, Miss Grimes, Miss Jones, Mr. Hawkins, Miss Powell, and Miss Mines. I feel safe at Spartan Academy, and I know they care about me, about all of us. They showed me that I could do right. They showed me that I could be a leader and how to be a strong leader. When we don't come to school, the staff comes to find out why we aren't there. Sometimes kids are having a bad day and we are disrespectful to the staff, but they don't hold grudges against us. They take the time to talk to us and find out why we are angry. They talk through our problems with us and then hold us accountable to make it right if we have disrespected anyone. They give us the tools to right our wrongs and help us deal with our emotions better. I was so happy when I was asked to write a letter to support my school. They have helped me grow so much. It was my pleasure to tell you how wonderful they are. They don't just do all that they can to help me become a better person and student, but they are the same way with all of the other students. I would like the school board to know that the staff at Spartan Academy really are working hard to take care of us, teach us, and be there for us. Thank you for making a school like this for me to come to that I never want to leave. Yunaja Womack. I would like to start off by giving a huge shout out to Spartan Academy class of 2020. Those few months were long and hard, but with the help and encouragement of our teachers and staff, we accomplished a huge achievement, and for that, thank you. You all pushed us to be the very best that we can be, and for that, we all excelled tremendously. So thank you again for the help personally and academically. I appreciate how it wasn't always just us about the classroom. It was so much bigger than that. Me personally, I've been going here on and off since ninth grade. I have had some of my best high school years at Spartan Academy. I've grown in ways I thought wasn't possible at the time. Spartan Academy helped mold me into the person I am. I've always been bright, but with a push and lots of encouragement, I embraced it. And for that, I'll always love you. Kanaya Booker. I am currently a rising senior at Spartan Academy. I am honored and appreciative to have this opportunity to speak on behalf of my great school. I hope the positive influence that Spartan Academy has made over my growth, maturation, perseverance, and approach to learning will be reflected in this letter. I became a student at Spartan Academy my sophomore year of high school. I'd been expelled from my home school due to multiple behavioral infractions, disruptions, and sometimes just all around exhibitions of disrespect to teachers, staff, and students. The only way I'd learned to deal with my anger and frustration was to fight. The only way I'd learned to deal with my fears and anxieties was to shut down and attack first. The tools I had at that time landed me in Spartan Academy. When I arrived, my guard was up. I knew I'd be entering an environment where many of the students I had altercations or previous issues with would be attending as well. So it's true. I walked into Spartan Academy armed only with the ways and means of dealing that got me sent there in the first place. But then I met Miss Jones, Miss Mines, and Mr. Hawkins. Along the way, they've seen me through many days of emotional breakdowns, life-altering hurts and disappointments, family issues, and broken friendships. The staff at Spartan Academy doesn't run away and turn their backs on us when we show up a little damaged. They sit and listen. They connect, and they really truly want to help us see that things can turn around and that trouble doesn't last forever. They have taught us that we must think and see beyond our current realities. They teach us to begin today to create the tomorrow we would like to see. My eye-opening moments didn't happen overnight. In my third year there, still evolving and growing more confident every day. We have norms that we follow at Spartan Academy, and while I won't reveal all of the details of how they build us up every day, there's a norm that says all students will be treated like a lady or gentleman. This is drilled into our being that we must show respect to those around us, but what is also taught to us is to carry ourselves in a way that warrants respect as well. The staff at Spartan Academy are our accountability partners, and we are theirs. The staff guides and educates us, but are never too high above us that they won't sit down and learn and discover new and interesting things about education and life alongside us. I can honestly say this makes me feel so good. I'm smart, but there are areas that I struggle in. Spartan Academy gives me a safe place to be flawed and a nurturing place to gain understanding. I love my school. Sarah Hall. First, I want to thank you all to thank you all that you have done for all that you have done and are doing during this pandemic. I know that your job is nowhere near easy, but your great work does not go unnoticed. I hope that you and your family are staying safe. I have several questions in regards to school reopening. One, will students have to be logged in at the time the teacher is on, or will they be able to go back and watch the pre-recorded lessons later that day? Kind of like how summer is now, as several parents will be at work and most younger students will be left at home with siblings or grandparents who don't know how to navigate the program. Two, will janitors have their jobs this school year as the schools will be closed so they won't be cleaning, etc. Three, how will students be fed during the day? Four, what about students and staff in regards to electricity bills? When students were at school, less electricity was being used, so bills were less. Now you have students and staff at home all day using lights, using internet, etc. Will Dominion Power be helping with this assistance? Five, will teachers be provided with new laptops and Wi-Fi? Ainsley Perkins. Good evening, school board representatives. We need more trauma-informed human services staff in our schools, not SROs. If the board chooses to keep them, SROs complete 4.5 days intensive training conducted by DCJS, which includes the effect of trauma and mental health issues in adolescents. As someone with over 18 years in the human services field, I hope these components are not given on day 3 or 4. This training is woefully inadequate from a trauma-informed care lens. If continued, why isn't the extensive and robust trauma-informed care network being utilized? On page 4, SROs provide a visible deterrent to crime. How does this not trigger secondary trauma for some RPS students? On page 5, SROs will work to prevent crime and promote safety. What evidence-based trauma-informed practices are utilized to achieve this? On page 10, what evidence-based therapeutic program is being utilized for physical restraints? On page 7, who views the audio-video recordings with the SRO when there is suspicion of criminal activity? Trauma-informed care and SPED training is provided every 2 years from several divisions within RPS. Do these trainers have specific education or certifications in trauma-informed care? What are these current effective interventions cited in the MOU? Charlotte Talley, how is RPS going to meet the needs of special needs students? Students with the need for physical prompts, reminders, and behavioral and communication needs. ESY has done a great job with 1 hour twice a week to maintain skills to reduce regression. How is the regular school year going to look for these students while RPS is going fully virtual? What about childcare issues for families who have to work, who have been able to survive because their children are in school full-time with before and after school care? Shania Merritt, I'm an elementary exceptional education teacher. I had a couple of parents from students I had last year reach out to me inquiring about their student success via virtual school and what are some supports in place for them. Also, will we as teachers have the option to go in our buildings' classrooms to do lessons following CDC guidelines? Thank you. Jennifer Surratt, dear school board members, I appreciate the many difficult decisions you have already made and the ones still yet before you. I am asking that you end the MOU with the Richmond Police Department. School resource officers do not help to foster a learning environment where all are safe and secure. There are many issues to address and significant funding increases needed to fully meet the psychological, social, and emotional needs of children and youth in the academic setting. And we are spending our tight budget on SROs. I have heard stories of positive relationships with school resource officers. However, those relationships can be fostered with teachers, with our cafeteria workers, our front office staff, our counselors, and social workers. It is strange to suggest that this need for positive relationship can only be provided through the presence of school resource officers. In trauma-informed approaches, the data supports relationships and interpersonal approaches as the drive toward positive outcomes for children and youth. Disciplinary and behavioral issues decrease without the need for law and order. Keeping school resource officers only serves to maintain the school to prison pipeline and continues to target our Black and brown youth for disproportionate involvement with SROs and system at all levels of government. We have better ways to educate. We have research that shows better ways. The time to act is now in the MOU with RPD. Thank you. Jeannie Boker, I applaud the board for its decision to go virtual in the fall. I am grateful to see a choice that prioritizes our children and our teachers. Teachers, to be frank, are the ones that make it all happen. RPS is in for a very challenging year, as are many districts across the country. It is imperative that the board support administrators and teachers at schools, and that each principal goes above and beyond in supporting their teachers during this time. The challenge before us demands the very best in communication, trust, and support for our teachers and families. I am asking that the superintendent and his administration be very attentive to the abilities of the principals to lead their communities successfully during this time. Where there are red flags, now is the time to address them. This must happen immediately because, again, our school community faces huge challenges. These challenges will demand capable, competent, fair, and reliable leadership at each school. I would also like to echo the 43 pages of public comments from the June 29th meeting that were never read into the record and that demanded a re-examination of SROs in our schools. I hope the engagement efforts of the administration regarding this review will be broad, authentic, and transparent. Greg Dwyer, I am a math teacher at Huguenot. The decision to have fully virtual schooling was a necessary one. Now we need to consider our students' conditions at home. Most urgent is the need for our students and their families to stay housed, and for that matter, all Richmonders to stay housed, and particularly our Black and brown residents who are disproportionately affected by evictions and houselessness. What are school board members doing to put pressure on the Virginia Supreme Court and Governor Northam to reinstate the eviction freeze? Although Stoney has allocated money from the CARES Act towards eviction, diversion, and rental assistance, this measure is not enough. As NBC 12 reported, while there are over 1,900 households pending eviction in the court system, 50% of those households will not be eligible to assess the funding because their court filing date preceded the pandemic. 950 plus evictions citywide will surely result in many forms of trauma for our students and their families, particularly for our Black and brown students. Do you truly feel comfortable sleeping in your bed at night knowing that so many of our neighbors, the people we are supposed to serve, are houseless? How are school board members using their positions to address this dire issue? Many students, caretakers will be working outside of their homes to continue supporting their families and perhaps to avoid evictions themselves. What is the school board doing to ensure that our students have childcare provided for them during this semester of virtual schooling? New York City has committed to providing childcare to 100,000 of its students, which is still not enough for their city. Will Richmond commit to a similar, more substantial initiative? Why is the city of Richmond still allocating more funds to public safety, AKA to policing, than to public education and public housing? Why is this city funding an entity that actively enacts violence against its residents, particularly its Black and brown residents, rather than funding programs to actually help residents survive and thrive? This is particularly urgent now as we continue to reel from the effects of a deadly global pandemic. Local Black Lives Matter activists have laid out solutions quite clearly, with one of their demands: defund the police and fund Black futures instead. What is the school board doing to put pressure on our local and state governments to meet these demands and reallocate funds appropriately in ways that will best support our students? Tara Seth, I am a resident of Richmond. I am writing to voice strong support for funding childcare for children during the upcoming virtual school year. If we don't, the research below shows that we are waging a war on our community's most vulnerable members. Let's not criminalize poverty. Let's uplift our youth. In a time that is challenging all of us, imagine being a youth of color growing up in the capital of the Confederacy during all of this. Don't they deserve well-funded, safe childcare? Regardless of what we say by changing school names and making posters that say BLM, our children will remember how we demonstrated those words, Black Lives Matter. The decision to have a fully virtual school year was a necessary one, and the rest of that are the same comments as the gentleman above. Okay, and that concludes public comment.
Thank you, Mrs. Wilson.
You're welcome.
All right. We are moving on now to board action items. First, receive for action the personnel actions.
Is there a motion? You need a motion?
If you want, I can do the summary. Otherwise, happy to go straight to the motion.
Okay, is there a motion to
I
approve?
so move, Madam Chair.
All right, that was Ms.
Burke.
Page.
Yes, Ms. Page, second.
Okay, Ms. Burke and then Ms. Page. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, let us have the vote.
Mrs. Page?